What's up, agency owners? Jason Swenk here with another great episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, a podcast for the digital agency owners that are wanting to grow a little bit faster. Actually, let me take that back. Grow a lot faster and create the freedom where they don't have to do everything that the whole agency does. And on today's episode, I have some amazing guests on. We're going to talk about partnerships, what works, what doesn't work. So let's go ahead because, one of the things that I hear a lot of times is people, hey, should I bring in a partner? And sometimes the answer is no, sometimes it's yes. Let's talk to people that have been in business for 15 years and haven't killed each other yet. So let's go ahead and jump into the show. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So tell us who you guys are and what do you do?
Awesome. Well, I'm Alexis Krisay. I am one of the owners of Serendipit Consulting, full service marketing and creative agency in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep. And I am Melissa DiGianfilippo, her other half. My background's PR, hers is marketing, so we work well together.
That's awesome. So how did you guys come together into starting an agency? Was it accidental? Did you guys have plans of conquering the agency world? Tell us the story.
Well, funny enough, I grew up, my father owned a digital effects agency in LA, and I grew up, visiting the studio and loving the environment, like how crazy, relaxed, just a great time all the time. It didn't feel like work. So kind of always aspired to create something cool, but never thought I would actually do it. And I was actually working for a real estate developer at the time. And, Melissa and we would contract out Melissa for PR on our different projects. And we just worked so well together. We would stay up late, laugh, but we would get shit done. And, that was back in the day. We were like in our early 20s. Mm-hmm. And we thought, God, it would be really cool to work together. Fast forward, Melissa meets a guy on a plane who was in the student housing industry, which was my previous career. And I had told her, I'd really love to get back in this industry because it's fun. They have fun budgets. We can do crazy marketing stunts. And, she came back, we had drinks, and he hired me. And I quit my job the next day, started Serendipit because just, it was very serendipitous how the whole thing happened. And, from day one, I begged her to come start it with me. And she's the conservative one. So she was like, no, I am not doing that. I have a good job. I have a good salary.
A crazy boss, but yes.
Yeah. And she's like, what if I get fired? I'm like, well, you can get fired anytime. Or she's like, I don't want, what if we don't have clients? And I'm like, well, what if you get fired? It's the same thing. So fast forward 8 months and I got another client and I begged her and she jumped ship, and gosh, the rest is history.
It's been 14 years. Yeah. So it was not planned. Long answer to your short question.
Yeah, no, I always love to see how people start out and how they get their first client. I haven't asked this in a while. What did you charge your first client?
$8,000 a month. I can tell you every number basically.
Wow.
She ran the books.
Yeah. I'm as the type A psychopath in the relationship. I did all that. Yes.
If I ran the books, we'd be broke.
We would never have money.
I charged my first client in $98, $500 for a website.
Oh my gosh. Times are changing because that was 2008 for us. And we thought that was so much money, and it still is a pretty good retainer. Here's what you don't know. The scope was insane. We were doing everything for them.
I think I was on a plane traveling to a different state every other week. I was, the retainer should have been way more, $50,000.
Yeah.
What do you think's worked well for you guys to, be a successful partnership? I had a partner growing in my agency that I brought in maybe 2 years after I started the first agency. And it worked well for 5 years. And then I felt the agency outgrew them. And then, fast forward when we sold the agency, I always just went back. I go, with any of my primary businesses, I'll never have a 50-50 partner. My motto was, you either know the bad partner or you're the bad partner. But since
Yeah.
running and working with agency owners all over the world, I've learned that that's not necessarily the truth, because I know a lot of agency owners that have amazing partnerships like you guys that have worked really well. So what are things that worked out well, and what are some challenges that you guys had, and how'd you guys overcome them?
Yeah. I would say we've had lots of challenges, but it continues to work well because of a few key factors. First, I think first and foremost, we respect the hell out of each other. It is hard to grow an agency. It's hard to have employees. We have children as well in our real lives. We feel like we have like 30 children, and so we respect each other's passions, opinions, and expertise. We try really hard to stay in our lanes, and we always know the minute those lanes get a little blurry, because that's when an issue arises, and inevitably it happens. It happens a lot, but the thing that works so well is that we address it in the moment, and because we respect each other so much, we aren't afraid to fight productively. We talk about everything. We sometimes yell, but it is the most productive kind of argument or discussion, because that respect allows us to leave the conversation with, okay, we're going with you, Alexis. I'm 100% on board with you on this decision. And even if it fails, it's not, I told you so. It's, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I agree.
So what's the secret of the lane assist?
The lane assist.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's practice. I don't think there's a secret. Like I think it truly boils down to the respect you have for the other person, and also like the trust, not just the respect, because she's proven to me and I've proven to her that like we do what we say we're going to do. We trust each other. We also know each other's shortcomings. I think it's so important to be open about that. Like, I know she's going to be 10 minutes late, and she knows I'm going to call her 15 minutes before the meeting and say, are you on time? But like
I'm in the car.
I always show up 15 minutes early, because then I can assist and manage, and we're not both late. I pick up the slack. I get crazy anxiety and stressed out, and she talks me off a ledge and takes me out of things that I don't need to be into. Like, we just know. And it's taken time. It certainly didn't happen overnight.
No. And I think for us, we both can jump into each other's lanes, not as experts. So if we need to cover each other's butts, like, she can jump in on the marketing side and do the best she can, and same with PR. But we know, we kind of like check ourselves internally if we start drifting, because we know like, hey, that's Melissa's lane. Like, I need to call her. I don't want to step on those toes. And I'll like verbally say, you know what, I'm going to ask Melissa. That's her expertise. Because the minute I start going down the PR road, I mean, I can sometimes fake it till I make it, but she's the true expert.
Yeah, you almost kind of need like this safe word when you start drifting into some lane. Be like, no, I got this. Like, this is your lane, and I totally agree with you on the trust and the respect. And it also seems like you guys are opposite as well, but you also probably have a common, or you guys have common core values that are probably aligned. That's kind of what I've see is really kind of the perfect partnership, is like you guys believe in the same thing, but you guys are completely opposite about getting there.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. We just took these different, our DISC profiles and our why, and it's so crazy because the people that were analyzing us, they said just that. Like, you guys are so opposite. Like, I'm the challenger. I'm like, think different. I'm big picture visionary. Melissa's like, clarifying questions. I need to know everything's going to be exact on time, and we're going to master it. So we just complement each other really well, but we share definitely the same core values. And it's funny, we weren't like best friends when we started, but we're married. She's my first marriage, and we're best of friends. So we literally have a great time every time we're together. So on a business trip, sometimes we sneak in a couple extra business trips there. So,
don't tell our husbands; they won't listen.
Hope they're not listening.
It's exactly that. I mean, we really trust and respect each other. We fill each other's gaps, and we also like understand what's really important to the other person. Like, is it okay to call each other with problems at 8 p.m. if we're putting kids to bed? And like, we're okay saying no to each other and explaining why. And we respect that. And I think that's so key. And people just brush past that stuff when thinking about a partnership. But your partnership is not just your business. It affects your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also see it too as like the best partnerships are really kind of people around the same kind of age as well, or going through the same different things in life.
Oh my God,
you know, like you mentioned kids, if you had someone that went out all the time and then another one with kids, like their goals don't really align as well. Usually the one with kids is a little grumpier.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little more tired. We actually planned, you're going to think it's crazy, but as women, we were the ones birthing the children. So we actually planned our pregnancies. Like I went first, like you're first. You figured it out. And then she went like 9 months later. And then I went 2 years later. And then she went with 2. She really upped one. She had twins. But after that, so we knew one of us had to be in the office. I mean, if something had happened out of plan, we would have figured it out. But it just, it worked out so well. And we did think about those things.
One question I always love to ask on the PR front is everyone on the PR team a woman or women?
Yeah. Today, yes, we have 9. In the past, no. And we've been so intentional about bringing diversity into our PR team, because when we do have a guy, it has been so much fun, such different perspectives, but they're few and far between in our industry. And you know that because you asked the question. We have 9 women on our PR team right now.
I think it's probably attention to detail.
I think so too. And just storytelling ability. Like we're on it. We can manage crisis stuff. We're great storytellers and we're so detail oriented. You're so right.
Well, I think it goes back to my wife always makes fun of me. Like I'll tell her, I'll be like, oh yeah, there's this, someone's getting a divorce and what happened? What happened? I'm like, I don't know. What'd you say? I'm like, I don't know. You should work out. So yeah, we are pretty bad storytellers.
It's so funny. Yeah. The details matter.
The details do matter. What's a big challenge that you guys, obviously you guys are well over the multi-million mark. How long did it take you to get over the million mark and how long did you stay there?
Yeah. Great question. Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we know this pretty specifically because we are members of Entrepreneur Organization, EO, if you're familiar. It's a member-led organization, non-salesy, amazing, changed our lives, but you have to have $1 million in revenue to join. So we joined about 5 years into the business. And truly up until that point, we didn't really know we had a business. I mean, we did, but we'll just create something that allows us to have freedom and flexibility, to have kids, work from wherever, make really good money. And suddenly we had a lot of employees. And then when we got intentional about 5 years in, we were at about $1 million, we really joined EO and put just serious effort and intention into growing our business and treating it like a business, not just like a hobby.
Yeah, I think in the beginning we said we were playing business because it was like we'd go work out, we'd work at a coffee shop, then we got our first office and we still felt that way because it was, we only had a couple employees and it was just fun all the time. And it's still fun. It's just totally a different dynamic. But and then I think as far as when we accelerated really quickly because when we got into EO, like Melissa said, it was intentional. And I think like 2 years in, we had crossed the $2 million mark and just keep going up from there.
Yeah.
What were some of the things, was there any particular systems that you guys executed that really kind of propelled the business? That looking back, you'd be like, man, I should have did this a lot sooner.
I mean, we went through scaling up. If you're familiar, with Vern Harnish's kind of scaling up, and it's like EOS and we applied a lot of that to the business. We did not continue to utilize that. We had a coach to kind of take us through that program for about 2 years. And I would say it did show us where the gaps were with our leadership team and processes that we didn't really have in place. But there's not really one system that we fully adopted for the business. We've really combined a mishmash of things to get what we really need. I think why Alexis and I are so different and continue to want to be so different. We didn't want to be the agency that we worked for. We didn't want to be the agency that everyone else was. And I think part of us kind of felt like if we do the same processes and same things, it's going to be the same agency. And so we find ourselves sometimes in that spot, and then we look at each other, we're like, why the fuck are we doing it? And I'm sorry, can I swear?
Of course you can.
Okay. But why are we doing this way? That this is not us. So we tend to then back off and create our own version of that process. And it's really, I feel like, gotten us to a great spot.
Yeah, I would say if I look back in like our pitfalls, I wish we didn't try to conform to be like that other agency. Like every position had to be the junior account executive, the executive, like follow the titles, follow the structure, and then get like sucked in, because every time we got sucked into that path, we failed. And then every time we went back into the non-traditional path, we excelled.
Mm-hmm.
I also think like a leadership team way earlier on
would have been great. Yeah.
It's been, people obviously buy us, but we wish now we have a leadership team that we bring in early and help really run the agency and, take us out of the day-to-day. But I wish we would have done that, 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake a lot of people do, and this happened to me, I would look at the bigger agencies and be like, oh, this is what they do. And, oh, this is the job titles. And then I realized, one day I go, man, and here's a hint for all of you guys listening on job titles. We just made them up. And literally, I wanted to fuck with recruiters because I was tired of them searching for project managers. So I was like, screw it. We have this celestial name. Let's just say mission controller. We literally went down the NASA job titles and we're like, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. And then we'd make up shit. And literally everyone liked it more. And then what also happened, a byproduct of this, is people never knew what title they had. So they could never compare.
Yeah. So they were never like, wait, how do I compare my salary to a mission controller? Like, do I have to go to NASA and find
I'd be like, do you have a rocket science degree? Like, you're asking me for $100K more, but it was fun doing that. Everybody appreciated the job titles, but that's the thing I see a big challenge with some agencies. People will promote, like there'll be 5-10 people. They'll promote to someone a chief. I'm like, do not do that. Like, then they'll be like, oh, I'm worth this. I'm like, well, we're just doing this for the clients. Like, you're still senior project manager. So that's kind of the salary.
And also, like, you're 27. So like, like it's very, the title thing kills us because it matters so much to employees and we don't give any fucks about it. We're like, you pick your title then, I guess.
We had a director of, it's funny because we had just a normal, not even junior graphic designer, but he asked if his title could be director of arts and crafts. So we gave him that title.
But we're like, just to be clear, you're not a director.
You're not a director, but yeah, he had that for a while.
At my company, Stacy is called the director of happiness.
Oh, I love it.
I love that.
And she's the operations and takes care of all the members and all of that. And she makes sure everyone's happy, even though I always laugh at her when she gets grumpy because of something I do. I'm like, you can't be the director of grumpiness. It's always caused by me. So,
yeah. I might steal that title for a new front desk person.
Yes, I love it.
There you go. Awesome. Well, this has all been amazing, guys. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the audience?
Yes, I actually want to share that we have a podcast as well that we have so much fun creating, and it's called Will It Stick? And we cover bold marketing campaigns, insane PR stunts, both good and bad, that consumer brands that we all know have done. And we usually produce content weekly. We have a pretty good following on it, and we have so much fun diving into the research and really talking about like how the heck some of these campaigns that we all know about, how they were born and did they work?
Yeah. And just what's so fun is, as business owners and partners, sometimes we're like passing each other in the night. We laugh. So doing the podcast allows us to, do something productive that we're learning for our clients, but also have fun and, spend that time together. So
That's great. And that reminds me of Will It Blend? I remember watching
yeah.
like everyone putting shit.
I
in the
remember
blender.
that. Do you remember that was before Twitter even existed, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it was-
I
remember
remember
it was like 2001 because it was when all my friends would send the stupid attachments because there was no like YouTube or anything.
Yeah.
I remember getting this one. Oh, and comment if you guys remember this or hit me up on social if you guys remember this. I remember getting this like animation of this blender and it was a frog and he would put stuff in it and you would hit different buttons like on what you wanted to blend up. And it was like, it'd spend hours just doing this. It was like the first interactive thing. I remember I was like, oh, yeah, let's put this in there.
that is,
So
I
cool.
so remember that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, well, awesome. Well, everyone go check out the podcast. And if you guys want to be around other amazing agency owners, like I'm talking about the best agency owners that are doing innovative stuff. They have the best teams. They're constantly doing the best strategies and you want to know what they're doing and hang out with them because I always like to think you are the person you hang out with the most, or the group that you have around. I'd love to invite all of you to go check out Digital Agency Elite. This is the best mastermind in the world for agency owners. And until next time, have a swank day.